Well, to discuss what's happening in Guinea in more detail, I'm very pleased now to be joined in the studio by the African political expert Douglas Yates. Douglas Yates, welcome to the programme. This is the first time in a decade that Guinea is under military rule. Why do you think the soldiers acted now?
Well, of course, there's possible scenarios to explain their behavior. My personal feeling is that they scouted the presidential palace, and these guys realized that tactically they could take it. But I don't believe that this was an organized coup where they have a development plan or a government plan. I think they seized the opportunity. And why I believe that is their immediate announcement afterwards wasn't, oh, well, now we'll hold elections, because that would have been acceptable. Instead, their immediate announcement was all of the governors of the regions must resign and they will be replaced by military personnel. That would mean they want to run a military regime. Completely unacceptable.
So it sounds like, in your view, that there isn't going to be a transition to a democratic government. The military are here to stay.
Well, my view is that these are amateurs, that they saw a tactical possibility to take the palace, but they didn't really think through how they could consolidate and hold power. So maybe over the next few days, they'll get good advice. They'll adopt some civilians in a mixed government where they retain the royal prerogatives, and they'll announce elections in 18 months, like Captain Dodis did 10 years ago.
Well, something that we have heard from the military leaders in the last day or so is that they took action because of what they're calling endemic corruption. Was the government of Alpha Condé corrupt?
Yes. Absolutely, and for the conventional reasons. So, in part, there wasn't really any balance or on his power. There was no real check on his power. So much so that with a rubber stamp parliament, he was able to implement constitutional reforms that gave him a third term. And there have been a lot of mining deals after COVID, when China's factories started to boom again. Natural resources, mineral prices have skyrocketed. China's been coming in, Canada's been coming in, and that represents rent.
And that may well be why we're hearing just a few minutes ago news from a key meeting that's been held today in Guinea that there is a curfew everywhere in the country, but in mining areas, it's being lifted.
Yeah, or why we're hearing Russia, the government of Russia, decry the coup d'etat and an unconstitutional seizure of power, because some of those deals were with Russia.
Yeah, I want to go back to the situation for the president, the now ousted president, Alpha Condé. We know he's being detained. We don't appear to know where he is. Do you know, what do you speculate may happen now for Alpha Condé?
Well, if I was a young officer who just staged a completely illegitimate military coup, I would need to build legitimacy. And the only way I could do that would be to delegitimize the past. So I think holding a kangaroo court, a kind of a trial, where you hold Alpha Condé responsible for acts that he did commit, would be one way to give your military regime legitimacy.
Do we have any sense at this stage as to how much popular support there is in Guinea for this coup?
Well, there's popular support for ousting Alpha Condé, but there's not popular support for military rule. That's the legitimacy crisis. The only way they can overcome that is through performance. And without any clear plan and with huge hurdles. This was where the place where Ebola broke out a few years ago. They've just come through COVID. Without any clear plans, it'll be difficult for this government to build legitimacy through performance.
Well, they may need legitimacy from the international community as well, and we've heard from the West African body ECOWAS. They're talking about sanctions now on the new Malian military rulers. How much power do you think ECOWAS have?
That's it. Guinea this coup did not think this through. ECOWAS sanctions will cut Guinea off from numerous benefits of being a member of the regional body. France has the ability to shut down its currency. The United States has the ability to cut off military funding. The IMF has the ability to freeze its holdover agreements. This is a country completely at the mercy of the international system, and the international system will not accept military rule.
And just finally then, what do you make of what France has done in reaction to this coup? Because there's been a statement of condemnation from Paris. France, of course, the former colonial power, but it hasn't done much else. Do you think France should do more now to act?
Well, it's difficult to say because whatever France does, it will remain the former colonial power, and that what it does will be perceived in that light. So I think the standard operating procedure is you oppose coup d'etats and you demand the elected leader be returned to power.
All right, really interesting stuff. Thanks very much for your analysis and for coming in. Douglas Yates for us there on the programme.